Good afternoon, dear viewers. Today I want to talk to you about a topic that affects each of us, regardless of where we live and what we do. It is a topic that concerns the very foundation of our lives, food. We are used to thinking of food as something we take for granted, but let's stop for a moment and ask ourselves, what if the very food we take so easily becomes the subject of a pressing global problem? Our conversation today will be about world malnutrition. Millions of people face hunger, despite the fact that in some parts of the world, food abundance is staggering. Growing populations, climate change, and limited resources all create a complex situation that cannot be ignored. That's why it's important to look for innovative solutions that can change the way we think about food and how we get it. After all, in a world where millions of tons of food are thrown away every year, it is our responsibility to find ways to not only satisfy hunger, but to do so in a smart and responsible way. Let's dive into the world of numbers and facts to realize the magnitude of the problem we are dealing with. In our rapidly changing world, malnutrition and hunger remain pressing challenges that we must address. According to the World Health Organization, more than 690 million people on the planet suffer from hunger. This means that 1 in 10 people do not have enough food to sustain their health and life. Unfortunately, the problem of malnutrition is not just limited to remote regions. It affects different countries and continents. As our world's population grows, malnutrition is becoming an even more acute problem. By 2050, the world's population is expected to reach 9 billion. Each year, we will face the challenge of ensuring that everyone has enough food to eat. However, at the same time, we have limited land, water, and other elements necessary for agriculture. We face a difficult choice. How can we provide food for a growing population without harming the environment or overstretching the planet's resources? The answer to this question requires out-of-the-box thinking, new approaches, and bold experimentation. A remarkable journey into a world of innovative solutions is unfolding before us. And one such solution that has generated a lot of interest and debate has been the authorization of insects as food in the European Union. In 2018, the European Union made a historic decision by amending food legislation. Residents of EU countries are now able to include insects in their diets. This decision was based on long research and extensive discussions, and takes into account the needs of a growing population and the lack of traditional sources of protein. It is important to note that this move was accompanied by strict regulations and safety standards. The EU has developed documents that regulate the production, storage, and sale of insects as food. This includes standards on hygiene, labeling, and other aspects. So insects are not just an exotic food, but the result of a long labor of scientists, experts, and policymakers who set out to provide the population with a sustainable source of food. By following the path of diversity and innovation, science is opening up important food sources that we had not previously even considered. Scientists have scrutinized insects as a potential food source and have discovered a number of compelling benefits. The first thing that catches the eye is the high protein content of insects. In some insect species, protein accounts for up to 80% of the dry weight. This makes them an excellent source of nutrients essential to our health. In addition, producing insects for food is much more efficient compared to traditional sources of protein such as livestock farming. Insect farming requires less land, water, and feed resources. This reduces the negative impact on the environment and allows limited resources to be used more efficiently. Research by scientists such as Professor Andreas Buzenbart and Dr. Julia Hampel from the University of Ghent in Belgium highlights the importance of insects as a food resource. Their research shows that insects are rich in vitamins, minerals, and healthy fats, making them a valuable addition to the diet. Supporting research and recognizing this potential laid the groundwork for the decision to allow insects in food in the European Union. In the next installment, we will look at how this decision gained the support of policymakers and what steps are being taken at the national level to introduce insect foods into the everyday diet. As you may have already noticed, our world is changing at an unheard of rate. and politicians are not left out of the loop either. The idea of using insects for food has received support from some influential politicians who see it not only as an opportunity to provide food for the population, but also to improve the environmental situation. Let's listen to some statements that emphasize the importance of this approach. A quote from Emmanuel Macron, President of France. "We should be more daring in our approach to food and look for alternative sources of protein. Insects represent a unique resource that we must harness." Support for insect consumption was also expressed by Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations. Given the growing population and the threat of hunger, using insects as a food resource is an innovative and sustainable step forward. EU states have taken a number of measures at the national level to popularize insect food among the population. This includes awareness campaigns, events and tastings to break down psychological barriers and show people new nutritional options. For example, the Netherlands has launched a program where school lunches include insect dishes. This helps children get used to the idea of food diversity from a young age and break the stigma around insect food. Bold policy decisions and support from the highest levels of government create a supportive environment for the adoption of new nutritional practices. In the next part of the video, we will talk about the benefits and challenges faced by those who decide to bring insect foods into their diet. As we dive into this exciting conversation about insect food, we can't help but appreciate all the benefits it brings. These benefits are as much about our planet as they are about each and every one of us. First, insects are a sustainable food source. They require far less land, water, and feed resources to raise than livestock. They do not produce as many greenhouse gases as cattle, reducing the negative impact on the climate. Second, insects are highly economically efficient. They grow and reproduce quickly, which allows organizing their production on a mass level. This reduces the cost of food production and can help lower food prices. Also, it is important to note that introducing insect food into the diet could be a way to combat malnutrition in the world. Their high protein and nutrient content makes them a valuable source of nutrition for those who suffer from nutritional deficiencies. However, aside from all these benefits, there are challenges we face on our way to incorporating insect foods into our daily lives. One of them is the psychological barrier. Many of us are used to a certain set of foods, and the idea of eating insects can be disgusting or perplexing. But once we begin to understand and appreciate all the benefits and possibilities, this barrier can be defeated. In addition, cultural biases also play a role. Different cultures may perceive insects differently, as a delicacy or as an unacceptable food. Overcoming these prejudices requires education and awareness campaigns to make people aware of new perspectives on food. And so, by moving past the challenges and overcoming the barriers, we can embrace insect food as a new dimension of nutrition, sustainable, nutritious, and innovative. Working its way from scientific research and the support of policymakers, insect food is beginning to find its place on tables around the world. Let's take a look at exactly how insects are being used in the food industry and what amazing products can be found in stores. The first thing to note is the wealth of variations in insect-based dishes and products. From crunchy bugs to delicately flavored caterpillars, insect food cookery knows a plethora of options. Popular products include bug bars, crickets to add to salads, and butterfly caterpillar pasta. One exciting development is the creation of muksun, a fly larva-based cheese substitute. This product has a pleasant nutty flavor and works well in a variety of dishes. When comparing the nutritional value of insect foods to traditional protein sources, we see impressive results. Insects typically contain more protein and less fat than livestock meat. They are also rich in important amino acids, vitamins, and minerals, making them an excellent source of nutrition. Comparison of average protein content per 100 grams of product. Beef, about 25 grams of protein. Chicken, about 27 grams protein. Commercial varieties of crickets, about 60 grams of protein. These numbers clearly demonstrate that insects can compete with traditional protein sources. Thus, insect foods not only allow us to enrich our diet, but also provide us with the opportunity to create varied and delicious dishes. Interest in these foods is growing, and our world is immersed in a new nutritional journey. And so, we have taken a fascinating journey through the world of insect food, from introducing the idea to putting it into practice. Let's summarize and review the key points we discussed. We started by recognizing the acute problem of malnutrition in the world. Growing populations and limited resources make innovative approaches to nutrition necessary. The second part of the video introduced us to the solution that came from the European Union, allowing insects as food. We learned that insects are high in protein, efficient to produce, and have a low environmental footprint. Scientists and politicians are calling for a change in the way we think about food and see insect food as one way to address hunger and sustainability. And while we face challenges such as psychological barriers and cultural biases, we see that the world is on the cusp of an important change. Insect food has already found its place in the food industry, offering a wide range of products with high nutritional value. So I encourage each of you to consider insect food as one of the promising alternatives. We can take part in solving the global problem of malnutrition by supporting innovation in the food industry. Let's openly explore this topic, overcome stereotypes, and give new nutrition a chance. Thank you for your attention. Let's work together to build a more sustainable future and make our world a better place for all.